We are going to talk about quadratic equation. Quadratic equation. In our previous video, I talked about equation and also state the types of equation. We have the linear equation, we have the quadratic equation, and we have the simultaneous equation. So in this, if you've not watched the video on the introduction of equation, you can check the other videos that I've posted and you watch the videos on equation and linear equation. Then in this video, our focus will be on quadratic equations. So what is a quadratic equation? It is an equation in which the highest power of the variable, which is usually x, is 2. When we have the highest power of that expression is having a 2, which is an index. It's having an index of 2. You can say that it is a quadratic equation. The general form of quadratic equation is ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0, where a, b, and c are real numbers. So a, b, and c are real numbers. They are not numbers with roots. They are real numbers. So numbers that are having roots, negative roots, we call them complex number. But here we're looking at this constant a, b, and c. They are real numbers where a is not equal to 0. Because if a is equal to 0, this expression will give 0. So quadratic equation, a is not equal to 0. That's the meaning of this symbol. This symbol means that it is not equal to 0. Now, quadratic equations can be solved by three methods. We have the factorization method, we have the completing the square method, and we have the using the quadratic formula. That is the formula method. So factorization method, we are going to solve question using the factorization method. Example, solve x squared plus 5x plus 6 equal to 0. Using factorization method, x squared plus 5x plus 6 is equal to 0. What you do is, you're going to look for a number that when you times it, it will give you plus 6. When you times it, it will give you plus 6. And when you add that same numbers, it will give you plus 5. Now let us examine them. Now you can see some of these things I wrote here is to try and know the right one to use. Plus 2 times plus 3 will give you plus 6. Yes. If you add plus 2 and plus 3 together, it will give you plus 5. So which means that this one is accepted. That means this one is accepted to replace 5x. But if you want to try the other ones and see, minus 2 times minus 3 will give you plus 6. Then if you say minus 2 plus minus 3, it will give you minus 5. And that is not what we need. We need plus 5, not minus 5. So this is not accepted. 2 times minus 3 will give you minus 6. If you say 2 minus 3, it will give you minus 1. So therefore, you can see that this one is not also accepted too. Minus 2 times 3 is also minus 6. But if you add minus 2 plus 3, it will now result, if you say minus 2 plus 3, it will now result to 1. And that is not what we have here. We have 5x. So the correct one that we pick is this. And that is what we use to replace. And what I'm going to use, the plus 2 and plus 3. So that's what I'm going to use here. So x squared plus 2x plus 3x plus 6. So we are going to use the 2 and the 3 now to replace 5x. And if you try to add and see, you will see that plus 2x plus 3x will give you 5x. So we are doing like expansion, we are expanding it. And when you expand it, it will be very easy for you to factorize. Now looking at this is x squared plus 2x plus 3x plus 6. Now we are working with this. We are going to break it to a simple way that we can go to work with. If we look at this now, we have x squared, we have 2x. What is common in them? It is what? X that is common. So since x is common in both expression, we are going to bring x out to factor out x. Then x squared divided by x will give you x. Plus 2x divided by x will give you 2. So what we have here, x plus 2, we are going to repeat the same thing in this other side, x plus 2 also. After you do that, then you will now check which number will multiply x to give you 3x. Which number? Therefore, it should be what? 3. So 3 times x will give you 3x, and 3 times 2 will give 6, which shows that it is 3 that is the right one to use there, which is plus 3 that is right for you to use. And after you've done that, your answers, you place them in brackets. And how will you pick? How will you pick to factorize? You will pick x plus 3 in a bracket, then x plus 2. X plus 2 appear twice, so you just pick one. X plus 2 in the other bracket. So this, in this now, you factorize. And remember, when you are doing all this, remember that it will be equal to 0. We are dealing with quadratic equation, and we want to get the roots of this equation. So x plus 3 is equal to 0, or x plus 3 is equal to, or x plus 2 is equal to 0. So x plus 3 equal to 0, or x plus 2 equals to 0. Now you move plus 3x to the other side of the equation. So x now will be equal to minus 3, or x plus 2 is equal to 0. That is plus 2 crossing over to the other side of the equal to, now be x is equal to minus 2. So the plus 2 now becomes minus when it crosses over, using the sign changing rule. So x is equal to minus 2. So for this, minus 3, minus 2 are the roots of this quadratic equation. Now that is how to solve quadratic equation using factorization method. You can pause the video to still go over it again from all what I've said, then you can continue. Now let us look at example 2. Solve x squared plus 6x plus 5 equals to 0. We are going to use complete the square method, and I think this one you have to pay attention to be able to understand the method used in this, how to solve using complete the square method. So x squared plus 6x plus 5 is equals to 0. The first step in complete the square method is for you to move this constant, which is 5, from the general form. Now let's come back to the general form. From the general form, we have ax squared plus bx plus c, where c here represents constants in quadratic equation. Then we have this one, the x here are variables that represent numbers. So we have to take note of that. Then why this a here is the coefficient of x squared. Coefficient of x, so that is the number that times the square of x. That is the number that times x squared, that's the coefficient of x. Then b is the coefficient of x that have the index of 1. So that is b. So take note of that. So I'm going to move the constants, which is c as I explained before, which is plus 5. So I'm going to move it to the other side. And it's plus at this point. So in this case, as it crosses the equal sign to this stage, it becomes minus 5. So x squared plus 6x is equal to minus 5. Then the next step that you follow is you are going to take half of the coefficient of x. Half. What's the coefficient of x? This is the coefficient of x, 6. You can see it here. 6 is the coefficient of x. You are going to take half of it. How do you take half of it? To take half of something means that it will divide that thing into 2. So I'm going to divide it by 2. And when you divide it by 2, it gives what? 3. Then, after you get the half of it, you will square the half that you got in. Then square it. And what's the half that we got in? 3 is the half now. So 3 squared will give, 3 squared means 3 times 3, and that's 9. So this 9 that we've gotten as our answer, which is the next step that I want to do now, I'm going to add 9, this 9, to both sides. I'm going to add 9 to both sides of this. I'm going to add 9 to both sides. This expression will add 9 to it, and this other expression will add 9. That's what we'll do. So x squared plus 6x plus 9 equals to minus 5 plus 9. And after you do that, what you do next is you are going to factorize, or you are going to expand. Let me just put it that way. You are going to expand this. And how do you expand? You look for a number that multiplies, number that multiply itself, number that multiplies two numbers that when they multiply they give you 9. And the number that we know that can give 9 when they multiply is 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is equal to 9. Now the thing is, are we going to use minus 3 times 3 minus 3 minus 3 times minus 3. Let me write all of them so that you see it. Minus 3 plus 3 times 3 minus 3 times minus 3 minus 3 times plus 3 plus 3 times minus 3. This form. Now plus 3 times plus 3 will give you plus 9. Minus 3 times minus 3 will also give you plus 9. Minus 3 times plus 3 will give you minus 9. Plus 3 times minus 3 will also give minus 9. First, you are going to take this one off because I don't think we'll be able to, we will need the first and the second one. Because our 6x here is, the coefficient here is positive, plus 6. So which of them are we going to add? Which of them are we going to add now that will give us plus 6? That is what we will use. Which one are you going to add to give us plus 6? Minus plus 3 plus 3 will give plus 6. So which means that the first one is the right one for us to choose to replace 6x. So if we use 3 to replace 6x, we now have x squared plus 3x plus 3x plus 9 equals to 4. That means if you check it, this is the expand form. 3x plus 3x will give you 6x, so it's the same thing. So 3x, but if in case where you add and you're unable to get this, that means you are not correct. You have to go back and do it properly. So 3x plus 3x will now give you 6, so which is correct. Then you're now going to break it just like what we did in factorization method. You're going to break it into parts. Then you will now check which of them, which one is common in both sides. X is common in both sides, so we're going to bring x outside because it's common in both sides. So x squared divided by x will give you x. 3x divided by x will give you 3. So we have x plus 3. Repeat the same thing that we have here to the other side. Repeat what we have here to the other side. Then when you repeat it, which number multiplies x to give you 3x? Which number? 3. So plus 3 times x will give you 3x. Plus 3 times plus 3 will give you plus 9, which is 3 is suitable for that place. So plus 3. Then at the end, you now pick out, you factor out now. You will now say x plus 3, close bracket, then x plus 3. You can see that we have x plus 3, x plus 3. X plus 3, x plus 3, they are multiplying each other. And when you have numbers that, are the same, numbers like this, 2 times 2, that are the same, that multiply themselves, you can as well express them as 2 raised power 2. We express the numbers like 2 times 2 will be 2 raised power 2. So that means this x plus 3 will now be expressed as x plus 3 to the power of 2, which means that this thing multiply itself equals to 4. Then after that, you now get the square roots of both sides. Square root of both sides. Getting the square root of both sides, the square will cancel out with this root. Then square root of 4 will give possible numbers. Either it gives plus 2 or it gives minus 2. That is aspect of square root. Either it gives plus 2 or minus 2. So x plus 3 now will be equal to plus or minus 2. Plus or minus 2. So this is how complete the square method is being done. And how will you get your final answer? You are going to move plus 3 to the other side. If you move plus 3 to the other side, it will now be minus 3. So it will now be minus 3 plus 2. Or x is equal to minus 3, which is this one, minus 3 minus 2. So like what I said in the possibility that I said, the square root of 4 can be what? Plus 2 or it can be minus 2. So that should not be confusing. So x is equal to minus 3 plus 2 or x is equal to minus 3 minus 2. So what is minus 3 plus 2? Because when you are solving quadratic equation, there are two roots that you need to get. There are two roots that you need to get. Sometimes the root might be the same. Sometimes the root might be different. So x is equal to minus 3 plus 2 or x is equal to minus 3 minus 2. So minus 3 plus 2 will give minus 1. Then y minus 3 minus 2 will give minus 5. Negative numbers together will give minus 5. So x is equal to minus 1 or minus 5. So this is how to solve using completing the square method. If you are confused about the completing the square method, you can as well comment on the video link. Comment on the video section there. You comment and ask questions on areas you don't understand and areas you need clarification on. Then I'm going to look at the last method, which is using the formula method. Using the formula method is just using the formula, like you are going to use a formula to solve everything. That is the formula method. And the formula method is given by minus b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. This formula is derived from the complete the square method. This formula is being derived from completing the square method. So, but I'm not going to explain how the formula is derived. Maybe in subsequent videos I might do that. So x squared minus 4x minus 5 is equal to 0. Now I'm going to break this for you to understand how to use the quadratic formula. X squared here, the coefficient of x squared here is what we call the a in the formula. Coefficient of x squared is what the a. Then why the coefficient of x is what we call the b. Then why c, which is the constant, is what we have here, which is minus 5. So I'm going to plug them in to the formula. So a is equal to 1 because x here is on its own, x squared is on its own, there is no number here. So the coefficient that it has here is 1. Then b is equal to minus 4, that is the coefficient. Then yc is minus 5, that's the constant. So x now will not be equals to, now fix the values in the formula. There is minus in this quadratic formula, so you have to take note of it. The minus, then you fix your minus 4 there, plus minus. Square root of minus 4 squared minus 4 times 1 times minus 5. So we are going to place all of them there. Minus 4, the a is 1, while the c is minus 5. So multiply minus 4 times minus 4 times 1 times minus 5 will give, if you multiply them, it's going to give, we are going to have 16, because minus 4 times minus 4 will give you plus 16. Then 5 minus 5 times 4 will give minus 20. Minus 5 times 4 will give minus 20. We are trying to work with this for better understanding. 4 times minus 5 give minus 20. Then minus cancel minus. It will now give plus. It will now give you plus 36. So 16 plus 20 will now give you 36. So plus 4 plus minus square root of 36. Square root of 36 is 6. So that means our x, like what I said, will give you two possible values. And the first one is either you get a plus 6 or a minus 6, just like what we did in the complete the square. Plus 6 or minus 6. So which means that x now equals to 4 plus 6 or 4 minus 6. And 4 minus 6 is minus 2. Then 4 plus 6 will give 10. 10 divided by 2 will give 5. Then minus 2 divided by 2 will give minus 1. So therefore x is equal to 5 or minus 1. So this is how to use the formula method in solving quadratic equations. Now I have some exercise here that you can try to solve them. Then if you have questions or problems while solving them, you can as well comment in my video. Then I'm going to give an answer. I'm going to reply your chats and comments. Make your comments, then I will answer the questions. So at this point, equation, like I said before, is a quadratic equation. I beg your pardon. A quadratic equation is an expression with equal sign that the highest power is 2. The highest power is 2. The highest power of the variable is 2. So therefore, we are going to stop here on this topic. If you are still confused in some areas in the video, you can click on the comment section, ask your questions. You can also share, subscribe to my channels to see more of my videos. So next, we are going to talk about, my next video, we are going to talk about the simultaneous equation, which is the number 3 type of equation. Thank you.